Hey, so I got another call, and I know for a fact that it wasn't the woman in the room. It was another woman claiming to be his wife, and she says she's heading back.
What up? Story motherfucking time. So some time ago, I was a brand new CNA, and I was working in this facility. It was the emergency department. This one patient had came in, and we're gonna say, just for the sake of privacy, they were there because they were in a car accident. Okay, so that's what we're gonna say. His name, we could name him Joseph. So Joseph had just gotten into a car accident. And so in the emergency department, they have certain categories. So there's certain people that'll go through a section that's like, they call either rapid or urgent care. A lot of the times, those like really quick titles just mean that it's not really that big of a deal. It's like fast pass. Come in, you need some antibiotics, get out. Come in, you need to do a strep test, tested, you're out. And then there's the ICU patients, like the patients that come in like in an ambulance, or they go to the trauma section. And then there's like the middle, like the generic, the ones that are emergent but not like traumatic. Joseph had a car accident, and he wasn't necessarily traumatic, but it was emergent because he had broken a couple of limbs. The orthopedic surgeons were gonna come in, take a look-see, see if anything needed to be operated on, see if he had any punctured areas, any broken ribs, yada yada yada, daga daga da. After the orthopedic surgeons come in and they do their assessments and everything, now again, I'm the CNA, so I'm not really 110% sure what's going on. I'm not the primary nurse taking care of this patient. I'm just sort of getting bits and pieces. So I'm gonna piece everything together as best as I can. I'm running around, they're asking me to start IVs, grab a set of vitals, this person's getting this, can you draw this lab, can you send this to the lab? However, because this patient required a whole lot of attention, I'm being asked to run into that room more often, more frequently than, you know, a lot of the other rooms. So I go in there, and when I initially go in there, I introduce myself. He's a little off because they put him on conscious sedation, this medication to sort of put you kind of sort of out of it, but you're still with it, so that they can relocate his shoulder, which was one of the issues that he was having. And so he's a little bit loopy. And the nurse was in there, and the nurse said,
His wife called, and it looks like she'll be coming in shortly, but we're also working on getting him a bed on the unit. It doesn't look like he's going to need emergency surgery.
Surgery will be necessary, it just is not emergent. So I was like, okay, cool. So I do whatever it is she asked me to do, draw the labs, whatever, and then I run around, do whatever else I have to do with my other patients. I come back in, and it looks like the wife is there. Again, my guy is loopy. He got the drugs to put him on conscious sedation. And she's talking to him. I'm not really paying them any attention. I'm just trying to keep up with all of my tasks. I feel like being a nurse and a tech in the emergency department, I feel like it's very task oriented. You're just trying to check things off, you know, trying to stay focused. I'm not really focused on them. And so I go in, I run out. I'm running around. The nurse pulls me aside again, and she's like,
Hey, did you see the wife come in there?
Yeah, I was in there before. I don't really know what the conversation was, what the exchange was, because I was working, but yeah, there was definitely a woman in there. I at least did notice, like, you know, an affectionate embrace. They certainly weren't siblings.
Okay, because I got another call from the wife saying that she's headed this way.
Okay, I mean, I don't really care. So fast forward, the day progresses. I don't really see anyone else go in there, so I'm like, okay, so that was for sure the wife. Like, they probably just, there was some sort of weird miscommunication. We're in the middle of my shift. I have to go back in there because we're still waiting on a bed for this patient on the floor, like on the units, and I see another woman in there. And so she looks at me and she smiles and she says,
Hey, are you the nurse? I'm Mrs. Robinson. I'm Joseph's wife. Can I just get some updates on what's going on?
So then, you know, the wheels start to turn, and I'm like, okay, then that woman that was in here before, who looked absolutely nothing like this woman, couldn't have been the wife, right? Joseph is no longer, you know, heavily sedated. That conscious sedation stuff has worn off enough for him to be with it, for me to try to make eye contact with this guy, for him to offer me some sort of unspoken explanation. Because I don't want to say too much, right? Right. So let's say that this wife number 2, for now, until we get further clarification, we'll say that her name is Emily Robinson, okay, Mrs. Robinson. I said, Emily, if you could just give me 1 second, I am not the nurse. I am going to go grab the nurse so that she can offer you some sort of update on what's going on.
Great, thank you so much.
I find the nurse. We can name the nurse Myra. I was like, Myra. So, it looks like Mrs. Robinson is here.
Oh, okay, so she did come back.
So here's the thing. That wasn't the woman that I saw in the room before.
Okay.
Okay, I just want you to know. I just want every one of us, at least the 2 of us, to be on the same page, because there's a different page that's going on in that room.
Oh my god, the end of my shift cannot come soon enough. I do not feel like putting up with this shiitake mushrooms.
I don't know, whatever. Do you, I just want to let you know what I observed. So she goes in the room, she answers questions, she says what she has to say, does what she has to do, whatever. I'm running around doing what I gotta do, trying to keep up with my tasks. She's trying to keep up with her tasks. Later on, now we're getting closer towards the end of the shift, but for some reason, it's always that last hour that drags by like a mother frickin' snail, all right?
Hey, so I got another call, and I know for a fact that it wasn't the woman in the room. It was another woman claiming to be his wife, and she says she's heading back.
I don't know what you're telling me for, Myra. I don't know. What are we gonna do? We get security on standby? Like, do we have to, what are we gonna do?
Okay, we need to find a way to have her step out of the room so that we can ask him more specific questions. I'm not trying to get caught in the middle of this. Let's do it.
I don't know what she tells Emily, Mrs. Robinson, to get her to step out the room. I don't know. I don't know what she says, but Emily steps out. I don't know, she goes in the direction of the vending machines, and so Myra, Nurse Myra, asks Joseph enough questions for him to panic. Apparently he doesn't remember wife number 1 ever coming in there, okay? So Myra comes back out to me, and Myra's like,
okay, so Joseph is having an affair. Mrs. Emily Robinson is the correct wife. But the woman that was in there before is apparently a woman that he had tried to cut things off with, but she didn't take things well, and so here we are where she's still claiming to be in his life.
Nothing about this is normal, okay? You have an affair, and this woman who is absolutely clearly not okay mentally if she's swearing that she's your wife. Somebody's lying. Somebody's lying. So I was like, you need to get security to figure some shit out, because she's gonna show back up in here, she's gonna see homegirl, and some shit's gonna pop off. And I'm sure Joseph doesn't want that. And so Myra's like,
it's not our responsibility to, like, you know, keep his lies under wraps. I just don't want to be caught in the middle of it.
okay, well, Myra, we're in the middle of it, okay? So if you could just ward this off until the end of the shift, that would be great. Thanks. So let's say that the shift ends at 7:30. Let's say at like 7:22, here comes wife number 1, just strolling in with some Starbucks. Guess who's still here? Wife number 2. Emily sees it. She sees her walking in from the front. I see her walking in from the front, but Emily didn't see her first. So I look at Emily and I'm like, bro, that's the girl. And so then Emily's eyes get huge. She runs up to security as wife number 1 is walking over there, and security intercepts And he's like,
I'm sorry, we can't have more than one visitor in the area.
That's crazy. I see a bunch of family members in each room all at once. Why can't I be in there? Who else is in there?
and I was like, okay, I don't know who told security that that was the best way to approach this. He should have just been like, I can't have you in here. Don't ask me any questions. Get out. I don't know. So then wife number one starts getting loud. She starts yelling, Joseph, you better tell them who I am. The wife, Mrs. Emily Robinson, opens up the door. She sees her. She's like, who are you? It turns into a cluster frick. Y'all, why did Joseph pretend to pass out? I swear to beans, the two of them flood the room. Security ends up having to drag them out. Joseph's eyes are closed. This man's eyes are shut. He is not moving. Both of them get escorted out. Both of them. So then eventually Myra goes in there, and you know, we're giving report, and Myra's like,
Listen, I don't know how you're gonna handle this to the other nurse, but it was a messy situation. I did the best that I could, but you clearly have a sticky situation, a messy situation to clean up after you get out this hospital.
there's the end of that story. You guys should definitely subscribe if you have not already. Check out all of my literary works, you know, all of my projects in the making. I'm gonna try to get some more fancy stuff going for you guys, and I would love for you guys to share stories with me. Tell me something crazy. I'm gonna start to pick topics of the week so that we can start telling more ridiculous stories, more crazy stories, and I'll share them here. And check out my editor, Blake Quake Beats. Thanks for joining.